We are live from Motor Barn Restaurant at the Harley Davidson Museum for Marquette Thursday's radio show, presented by Aurora Healthcare, the healthcare choice of Marquette Athletics. Welcome everybody to our second episode of Marquette Thursdays. Thank you all for being here tonight, and thank you, Shaka. How are you doing tonight?
Great. Excited to be here with everybody. We're near the end of exam week for the guys. Most of our guys are pretty much done, a couple final papers. And then we've got one more practice tomorrow before we hit the road for West Lafayette, Indiana, and Purdue.
All right. Well, as you mentioned, you've been through 10 games so far in the season. You're wrapping up the non-conference, and you're looking forward to Big East play. And how are you guys continuing to highlight growth right now?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we got one more non-conference game, so our complete focus is on that. You know, certainly you see not too far ahead, you see league play, and that's always so incredibly important. But, you know, for our guys, it's about continuing to come together in practice around taking a step to be a next best version of ourselves. Getting Sean Jones back kind of makes us back whole, at least in terms of all of our guys being able to play. It does change our, you know, just our personality out there on the floor because the way he plays is loud. And so we're working on different combinations with him back. You know, today we had a spirited practice. The guys have, you know, this week is always interesting, balancing exams and the time demands, honestly, of what comes along with that. And, you know, also trying to move forward and grow through practice. And I think our guys have done a good job balancing that.
As much as you can say about these practices, they sound, like you said, really intense. How do you try to create that mentality to get them ready for the games?
Yeah, I think, you know, a lot of times early in the year, particularly with younger teams or teams that, you know, are not quite at the point you want to be at confidence-wise, sometimes you do certain things in practice that you say, well, we got to go do that in a game. I remember when I was a freshman basketball player, my coach used to always say to me, why don't you do that in the game? He used to call one Bud. Why don't you do that in the game, Bud? And I just wasn't quite ready, I guess. But over time, through experience, I improved and got to the point where I could do that. Right now, Chase Ross, who will join us a little bit later on the show, is kind of head and shoulders ahead of everyone else confidence-wise. NJ's probably next just because of just his sheer you know, way he carries himself, even though he's a freshman and he's only played a couple handfuls of games. But you see other guys that are starting to emerge and grow. Adrian Stevens started our last game against Wisconsin. I thought he played really, really well, played with great aggressiveness. You know, I see Royce, you know, gaining some, you know, aggressiveness, going to the basket, finishing, which is a huge, huge key for us because he's someone that, you know, when we win big games as we go later into this season, he's going to be a guy we need to put the ball in the basket.
Let's talk about Adrian Stevens. He had his first career start in a really big game against Wisconsin, and he put up 15 points for you guys. How impactful was that?
You know, he and NJ remind me not so much the way they play, but just their makeup and their spunk of a young Stevie and Cam, you know, just as freshmen. And we're asking these two guys this year, NJ and Adrian, to do more than we asked of Stevie and Cam just because of, you know, the makeup of those two different teams. But I thought, you know, the thing about Adrian is he's not afraid. You know, he really has a lot of guts, a lot of toughness. I thought he played with aggressiveness. He's a guy that can be very tough and physical on both ends of the floor. He's a good shooter. You know, I thought he did a good job not taking any what we call half shots. You know, when he shot it, he shot it. That dunk he had, he's done that in practice before. I mean, he can do that. And I told him, okay, you've done it in practice. Now you've done it in a game that we didn't win. You know, now you need to go win us a game with that dunk. So it's a progression, but I'm excited about him. You know, those two guys were recruited because we knew we were losing Cam and Stevie, and we thought they could come make an impact on our team, and they have to this point, and they will continue to more and more.
And they're roommates, correct?
They are. Yeah, those guys got to know each other really, really well. You know, the way we go about recruiting, a lot of times guys decide, you know, almost a year before they're going to get here. So those guys were committed for a while. They got to know each other. And what's really cool now is, you know, they'll be the hosts or you know, help recruit incoming guys. Mm-hmm. And, you know, particularly NJ has kind of a bit of a Pied Piper quality to him where, you know, people want to follow him, people want to be around him. And that's what you need. You know, that was Cam Jones, you know, his freshman year. Yeah, I remember guys would visit and they'd see Cam and want to be around Cam. And that's why a lot of people came here. And NJ and Adrian have that quality as well. So they've got a bright future. What we're asking from them now is, to grow rapidly. But then, we need some of our other guys that are sophomores, juniors, and seniors to grow as well and contribute a little bit more.
When you were talking to Sophia, you said they're both thinkers, and they like to go back and shut their door, and they like to think.
Yeah.
That's important, right?
It's important, but, what's even more important than thinking, or I guess equally important, is connection. So the other day I was on the road recruiting, and I texted those guys in a group chat, and I said, spend some time in connection today, open your doors. Because, where they live, sometimes, listen, it's a lot that is asked of these guys academically, basketball-wise. There's busy schedules. So sometimes, when they do have a few hours, they just like to go shut the door and, be alone or get on the phone or, play video, whatever it may be. And, I told them, open your door, connect with each other. And they're getting better and better at that. In addition to that, they need to really lean into their older teammates, and their older teammates need to lean into them. Because as I tell these guys all year long, and they're learning it, over this first month of the season, they need each other more than they thought. They need each other more than anyone outside of our program can really fully understand, because all the answers to what we want to do as a team and also guys individually can be found in each other. And that's our way. That's any time we've been at our best here over the last 4.5 years, it's been because of that. Watching the game tape of the last time we played Purdue, the connection between David Joplin and Cam Jones and Chase Ross, Stevie Mitchell out there, like you can see it, and that is what is required to beat a good team.
We're going to talk more about some of these other contributors in a minute. Marquette fans, there's nothing like a sea of blue and gold when you're catching your Golden Eagles live and in color. Get tickets all season, even if it's last minute, at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Marquette Golden Eagles. Hear more from Coach. Oh, never mind. So some of these other contributors, we have Royce, Michael Phillips. How are you kind of getting them to take up these bigger roles?
Well, I think for Royce, there's a huge gap right now, I think, between the player that we know he's capable of being on a consistent basis and kind of where he's been through 10 games. And it's exciting because, he's done some really good things, but there's much, much more there. And so we spent a lot of time together. He's really worked after practice. We had a long practice today. We did a drill that took probably about a half hour at the end of practice because it's a tough one to get out of, and the guys really have to come together and find a way to get a certain number of stops in a row to do so. But we spend time together. We help him understand, how can he take that next step in terms of offensively, defensively, and then the connection with his teammates. Michael Phillips has got as much potential as anyone on our team. He's just young, and it's funny. I've heard from a lot of, fans that I talk to. They're like, I want Michael Phillips in the game more. And I do too. He's got to continue to grow. He is uncommon. He's different, in a lot of ways, the way he lives his life. I think if he continues to grow the way he is, we will all see him getting in the game more and more.
We're going to see him later today, but Chase, what kind of leadership role has he taken on this year? I know that's a big question, but.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it's not, let's just say it's not necessarily natural to him, but it's what's required. And, he is a winning guy. He's always been a winning guy. He's always cared about winning. He's always driven that, from the role that he's been in, Sophia. But now, he's in that what we call first cup, which is your best player. And when he came in here, that was Tyler Kolek. All right, then last year that was Cam Jones. And now that's him. And he's very capable of being that. But it's a shift. Honestly, the biggest shift for him is being able to sustain what we call mental intensity. So being able to stay really, really locked in, being able to stay emotionally connected to what's needed out there, being able to stay vocal, with your teammates. As we know, he's not the loudest talker, although he's got a great deep voice when he uses it. But he's making progress, and I think the great thing about Chase is he has high character. He's a high character person, and so he's kind of being put to a stress test right now in terms of his leadership. But I believe he's going to come out on the other side in the right way.
How does having Sean Jones back kind of impact Chase? And you mentioned always NJ needs Sean, right? They need to play off of each other. So
Yeah, but well, we envision those guys as a two-headed monster, and that's how we want them to play. That allows them to play really hard. When you have both of them, they can sub for each other. They can play some together, and so having Sean back will be a positive for NJ. It'll be a positive for Chase as well. I think the biggest thing with Sean, and I talked about this a couple times recently, is just he needs a runway of some games here, to move towards being in midseason form. It's been 23 months, actually to the day, since he injured his knee, and he's played 4 games, during that time. So he needs some games, knock on wood, hopefully, he'll get those games, and by the time he gets to mid-January, he'll really have a flow going. But in the meantime, we're trying to win, and he's trying to play well. So what we've tried to do is really, really simplify and make very, very basic for him. These are key things that you can do that are controllable, that you can go after.
we're going to hear more from you after the break, and specifically the new signees that'll be coming later this year.
Yes.
So we will be back with more from Motor Bar and Restaurant, home of Marquette Thursdays. Davidson Museum, presented by Aurora Healthcare, the healthcare choice of Marquette Athletics. Tonight's interview with head coach Shaka Smart is brought to you by Bergstrom Automotive. Bergstrom Automotive, driving Wisconsin forward and proud to stand with Marquette Basketball. So before the break, we talked about the squad you have already, and you're adding 3 new people. One that's coming after Christmas, you mentioned, with Nash Walker. So talk a little bit about him coming from Australia and the Global Academy.
Yes, it's actually the same basketball academy where Ben Gold was before he got to Marquette. So, Sophia, we signed 3 guys in November: Nash Walker, Alex Egbuonu, and Ethan Johnston. Alex and Ethan will be, typical freshmen where they'll get here early in the summer and they'll have a normal freshman year. Nash is going to come early and he will get here right after Christmas and he'll join our team as a redshirt. And so, guys that come from overseas, they're academically, it's a little bit different, the way they go about things. So he's done school-wise, so he'll get here and he'll join Sheik and Ian as redshirts. So let me tell you about those guys as players, because I know fans would love to hear who we're getting, who we're adding to our team. I'll start with Alex. He is very, very unique in that he's built like a linebacker. He's about 235 pounds, barrel-chested. I went and saw him play last Sunday. He had 31 points and 10 rebounds. He is a natural scorer. He can really, really score. About 6'6", long arms. He's, his body, is built almost like a football player, but he moves with really good grace.
You said like a ballerina.
Yeah, and I say that in a good way.
Yeah.
He's light on his feet. He's got good footwork. He can change directions, and he's someone that can take a hit and he can give a hit, which in basketball, particularly in the Big East, is a big deal. It's a physical game. The refs, are going to let you play. They're going to let you be physical, and Alex is someone that from day one will have a body that's ready for that. Ethan Johnston is another unique player in that he's a guard, but he's got very, very good size, 6'7", about 200 pounds. We always give these guys, the skinny ones, we always give them goal weights before they get here. So the goal is 215 by the time he gets here. I would take 205 or 210. But he is really, really athletic, long arms. He can play really good, aggressive, tough defense on the ball, but then also off the ball. He's good in the passing lanes. He's a good passer. He's a guy that comes from Queens, New York, so he's well versed in like the high-level basketball culture of New York City. His dad was a very good college basketball player. So excited about Ethan, excited about Alex, and then Nash, as I mentioned, will be here really in a couple weeks. He visited for our first game of the year when we played Albany with his family. Nash is from Tasmania, all right? So for a lot of people out there, the biggest thing they've probably heard of about Tasmania is a Tasmanian devil, right?
Yeah.
Definitely was for me. But Nash, Tasmania is a part of Australia that probably doesn't get as much attention, but there's a level of toughness that you have to come from there, and he has that. He's probably the best shooter. He'll walk into our team as the best shooter we have. That's his number one skill set. And then he's also a good passer, good ball handler, and someone that's got a really good mind for the game. So we're excited about Nash getting here. And all 3 of those guys are guys that I think will be Marquette guys. There's always an incubation period of when you get here, learning everything that goes into being good enough to go into a big-time game and contribute for your team. And you never know exactly how long that'll take. Some of that's relative to physical readiness. Some of it's relative to how quickly the mind adapts. Some of it's relative to how quickly you're willing to buy into a role. But I think all 3 of those guys are guys that can really help us in time be very, very good at Marquette. And I think, Alex is the best scorer of the 3. Ethan is the most versatile of the 3, and Nash is the best shooter of the 3.
You said with Alex, his offense right now is way ahead of his defense, right? And you guys are a big defense team.
Well, it's interesting because defense is the easier one to get better at fast. Because a lot of times you get better at defense out of necessity. In other words, there's 2 possessions. There's on the court and on the bench. And so those are the 2 positions you can play. So if you have to decide between those 2 positions, and playing defense is going to be the deciding factor, all of a sudden you're out there, you're in a better stance, you're trying harder, you're slapping the floor, you're a lot more committed to defense. And when I went to see Alex play last week, when he got in the stance on and off the ball, and he spread out and he used his big chest and body, he was really, really good. And so he has that in him. He's just got to do it more consistently. Ethan Johnston on the other hand, it was interesting. He played on an AAU team. He's a leading scorer on his high school team, very good prep school called the Hill School. His AAU team was loaded, like so many good players, so many different guys. New York City, where, let's be honest, everyone in that area kind of, feels like they're the man.
Of course.
He did an unbelievable job kind of buying into a role on that team of being a defensive stopper. They would put him on the best players on the other team. He would really guard and really get his hands on the basketball and rebound at a high level. And it was great to see because that's what he's going to have to do when he gets here, defend and rebound and cut and run and an offensive rebound. And so it was great to see him do that. But I'm excited. All three of those guys are high character. And for us, the way we do things, you have to be that.
Mm-hmm. And with Nash coming so soon, how do you kind of integrate a player that comes early?
He'll hit the ground running. He'll join our scout team. And the scout team is very important because they really run what the other team does. They mimic the other team. So preparing for Purdue, our scout team, plays an integral role in trying to mimic what Purdue does. Obviously, we're not going to be able to do that 1,000%. But we'll have 3 red shirts. So it'll be Sheik, Ian, and Nash. Anytime you're redshirting, if you have someone else with you, it's better. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of extra workouts. There's a lot of extra time with Todd, our strength coach. And that is grueling. And so if you have someone else with you, it makes that process go better. And now there'll be 3 of them. So Nash will have some guys to show him the way. But he'll literally get here, I believe, the day after Christmas. We've got to do all of our medical testing to make sure he gets clearance on that. But once he gets that, he'll be into practice. And he'll be out there kind of thrown into the fire with everybody else.
Great. You mentioned this Marquette guys. Talk to me about that a little bit, what that means.
Yeah, it's just something that we've used. We stole that from Jay Crowder. You guys all remember Jay, I think it might have been almost a decade ago now, but 6, 8, 10 years ago, a member of the media asked Jay about what is it about Marquette guys, and the member of the media was referencing him and Jimmy and Wes and D. Wade and just different guys from Marquette that have had success at the next level. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they all seem to have the common trait of toughness and like a blue-collar mentality, a way about them of approaching the game. And so there's a quote from Jay Crowder that we have downstairs in the Al McGuire Center right across from our gymnasium. And, to paraphrase a quote, he basically said, Marquette guys, they're winning guys. Mm-hmm. They make the days count. They take advantage of every day, and they make everyone around them better. And so that was a quote from Jay many years ago. But that's what we're going after now. And then by the Marquette guys quote, there's a picture of D. Wade and Travis and Wes and Jarrell and Jimmy and Jay. And since we've been here, we've added Oso, Tyler, and Cam. And those are the guys that we're looking for in recruiting. Not to mention, those guys are Marquette guys. They also won a lot of games. That's not a coincidence. Those are the guys that contribute to winning and, advancing deep like we want to. And
how intentional are you guys just with recruiting in general, trying to show these players how great it is to be a Marquette guy?
Very intentional. When they visit, the most important people in the recruiting process are actually our players, our current players. I mentioned NJ earlier. Every once in a while you get guys that they have a magnetism about them to recruits, and he has that quality. Cam Jones had that quality. And so, you want to get the recruits and their families around your guys. And really, our players and our players' parents can tell the story of Marquette better than anyone. Obviously, in the recruiting process, we are communicating with these guys all the time. We're on the phone with them. We're doing Zooms with them. We're texting them. We're sending them things all the time via text. And so when they get here, it's really the rest of Marquette that they haven't experienced yet that's very, very important. And what we try to do is just really, really give them a full experience. They meet with everyone from, academic advisor, professor, strength coach, the president of the university, our AD, nutritionist, everybody that's going to play a role in their success.
We talked last week about your kind of bringing the relationships, growth, and victory to the community, right? and you guys did your shopping with the Golden Eagles. How was that?
It was great. Yeah, it was great. We every year, a lot of you guys may know this. We take some kids shopping. We partner with St. Catherine's, which is a school here in Milwaukee that we've spent some time with, really for the last 4.5 years since we've been here. It's been a good partnership. And what we do is we bring the kids to a store. We're there already with our guys, with other student athletes from Marquette lacrosse, both men's and women's, different Marquette teams, and also our staff. And the kids come in and we pair up, an athlete or a couple with a kid, and then we take them shopping. And it's always a win-win because these are kids that would not normally be able to go on a shopping spree. I can relate to that. When I was 8 years old, true story, one year I got my brother a used battery for Christmas, all right? Because I could not afford, to go buy any gifts. So for these kids, it's a unique opportunity to go around a store, a department store, and go buy gifts for their family. They definitely get some things for themselves, which we're not mad at them for that. And it's a real just chance to kind of help them go through that process. We provide gift cards for them. And it was this year, for the first time, Sophia, all the funding for the event came from me and the guys.
Wow.
Every one of our players donated for this event. And then Maya and I kind of covered the rest. And so I think it's good, for our guys, to understand, like, hey, if you can give back your time, if you're willing to donate, financially to enrich the lives of people, give them a better holiday season, that I think it's a good lesson for them, because hopefully these are guys that over the course of their lives, as they get into adult life and they build their careers, they're going to be willing to give back in more ways than one.
That sounds like some Marquette guys to me. After the break, we'll be back with Marquette Thursdays. Trevor's going to be sitting down with Chase Ross right over there, and Coach will be back later for more.
presented by Aurora Healthcare, the healthcare choice of Marquette Athletics. Welcome back to Motor Bar, everybody. It's great to see you all on Thursday. Give it up for yourselves. The weather's kind of bad, but we're really glad you made it all out here for the show. So the Wintrust player interview, tonight's Marquette player interview is brought to you by Wintrust, Wisconsin's bank, the official banking partner of Marquette University and home to Marquette Checking with free ATMs nationwide. Everybody, please give a big round of applause for Chase Ross. How are we doing tonight, Chase?
Doing great, doing great.
So we were talking about recruiting in the last segment with Sophie and Coach. There's a really good story about what Coach and the rest of the staff did when you got recruited. Can you tell that story a little bit?
So I came on my visit here in September, and Coach was kind of peer pressuring me to commit right on the spot. And he said, if I commit here, he'll jump into Lake Michigan. And so I told him, let me weigh my options, and then maybe like a week or two later, I committed. And he sent me a video of him jumping in Lake Michigan with all the other coaches. So that was very fun.
Sure, it was cold as well. And you know, when we interviewed you back in the winter for Cam and Stevie's podcast, you talked about how cold you were at football. Talk about your high school football days a little bit, because you played a lot of positions.
I was definitely a football player. I definitely thought will be playing football in college, but I guess my love for the game fell away, so I started playing basketball and picked up that. Any Packers fans in here? Go Cowboys. Yeah, there's no yay. I play a lot of positions. I think my favorite position was running back or safety, so I definitely think I could still play football a little bit.
Now, you claimed back then that you had Ashton Genty, Boise State numbers in high school, which by the numbers you told Cam, Stevie, and I, it wasn't really that case, but you had mentioned as well a fun story about how your right arm is technically shorter than your left.
So when I was playing football, I injured my right shoulder, which was my collarbone, but it went to my growth plate. And so when I went to the doctor, they told me that I kind of ruptured my growth plate and that basically my arm was going to stop growing. So my left arm kept growing, and now my left arm is longer than my right arm.
Speaking of the Cowboys, you also played in AT&T Stadium in high school. What was that experience like?
It was fun. It's a very big stadium. The Jumbotron, it makes you break your neck when you're looking up. So they need to condense that thing down. But other than that, it's fun. Atmosphere is great, and it's not cold, so it's indoors.
How are you feeling about the Cowboys this season?
Can't wait. We're gonna make it to the playoffs. We're gonna take down the Packers. Can't wait.
So you started transitioning more to basketball, and you made the journey from Texas up to Massachusetts at Cushing Academy. What was that experience like during COVID and being really far away from home?
It was different. Coach talks about taking bold risks. That was, I think, a bold risk by me, just moving away from home, being to a place and climate that I've never been to, and just being away from home, learning how to grow on my own to myself, and just staying with it, doing what I need to do to get to where I want to be. And it helped me get here, and so I'm grateful for that opportunity, and I'm glad Coach reached out to me.
I mean, being that far away from home in high school, did it help you build confidence for, again, still being really far away from home up here in Milwaukee?
It did. I'm used to it. My freshman year, it was basically the same as I was my last 2 years in high school, so I didn't really have a big drop-off from high school to my freshman year here at Marquette, because I was already accustomed to it, so I think that helped a lot.
I know Marquette fans are very excited about the way you've been playing to start this season. You've had a big role increase from last year to this year. Talk about the transition to being, the third or fourth option last year to now being like what Shaka calls the first cut guy.
It's always going to be a transition, but I think the biggest thing for me was just confidence. The confidence went up this summer. I've been working all hard and just trying to help my teammates be at their best and for me to be at my best. So the confidence key, that was a really big aspect I worked on. Frustration is going to come with it, but just trying to fight every day for the little opportunities to help my teammates in any which way to be confident, the confident leader that I am. And that's what helps me play better.
Absolutely. Give him a round of applause for that. There we go. Motor Bar and Restaurant at the Harley Davidson Museum is the place to be for all Marquette fans this season. Make sure to join us on select Thursday nights throughout the season to hear from head coach Shaka Smart and his players. Our next show is December 18th when Josh Clark and Sheik Pearson will join us here at Motor Bar and Restaurant. So looking back on your time at Marquette, obviously it's coming to an end after this season. What's the biggest thing you've learned between then and now?
I think the biggest thing I've learned is just the growth aspect. I was very shy and quiet when I first got here. So just interacting with a lot of people that I would never see myself interacting with is just it's kudos to coach because he's helped, he always harps on relationships, growth, and victory. Just the relationship aspect of just learning about other people, seeing their background, hearing their stories is just so moving to me because we all have our different stories. And so just learning things from them and getting to know them. I love Marquette, and I wish I could stay 10 more years.
What is your favorite thing about Marquette?
Favorite thing about Marquette, National Marquette Day. Fun fact, National Marquette Day will be on my birthday this year, so.
There we go. Big birthday game, big birthday win for you, no doubt about it. You talked about relationships a minute ago. You have a really strong relationship with former teammate Cam Jones. Can you talk about the bond you guys have?
We have a great relationship. We talk quite often about music, anything, life. It's really, when guys leave here, it's fun just getting to know them like on another level when they get away from here because, as a teammate, you see him every day, so like what he's going through. But just talking to him like far miles away is just very moving. I talk to Oso still, Tyler. It's just very fun with guys leaving, and they're still, ingrained into Marquette. So I think that's really big.
Absolutely. Purdue coming up on Saturday. This is the fourth time you've played them. What was that first experience playing like at Mackey a couple years ago?
Wild. I remember, so my first two games was Central Michigan and Radford. I think I was playing very well, and we went to Mackey, and my confidence was off the roof. I'm thinking, I'm going to get 20 minutes today and pack the game, and that was not the case. I had a bad stretch where I went in and took 3 shots, and all of them either got blocked or I missed. And I think I set the bench the rest of the game. So I feel like I think that helps me a lot because, it kept me level-headed. I thought I was super confident, and so now I know what I need to do going back into Mackey.
Playing in that environment, it's heralded as one of the better in the country. What were the fans like?
Oh, they wild, ruckus. It's nothing like the Big East, but for a Big Ten program, they're up there as one of a rocky crowd. So I like that, but I think that's my favorite thing, going into another arena and silencing the crowd. So I can't wait to do that on Saturday. What
is it about playing on the road and silencing those crowds that gets you going?
Just seeing them in distraught. When they come to the games and they cheering for their home team, and then you go in there and smack them in the face, it's just like, dang, I came to watch this. And yes, you did. You came to watch Marquette beat up.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the Big East a moment ago as well. It's your last season in the conference, and you're off to a very hot start amongst conference players, leading the conference in scoring. How do you want to continue that impact into conference play?
Just continue honing in on what I need to do, what I need to get my teammates doing. It's really, I don't go out there saying I need to score this many points. I'm just trying to lead my team to a win, whatever. If I score 0 points and we win, I am all happy. So just doing whatever I need to do to get my teammates on one accord and getting a win.
What's your favorite spot to play in the Big East on the road?
I I will have to say, can never beat MSG. Can never beat MSG. So definitely St. John's.
Okay, nice, nice. And what do you think this team needs to do to continue to have success in conference play?
Just come together, on the defensive end, have each other's backs, and, everything else will fall in line. We just have to have belief, unwavering faith, and do what we need to do.
Absolutely. And Coach mentioned before you came on to ask you about the boat story.
Nah. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It was the boat. Lake Michigan. Thankful for him, man. Grateful for Coach. Grateful for him. If it wasn't for him, I would not be here in this position. So, yeah.
That's it? That's it on the boat story?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Fair enough. Hey, look, I can't blame you for that. Look, Chase, thank you for joining me this evening. It's been great talking to you. Bergstrom Automotive, driven to deliver great results or great guest experiences across Wisconsin, proud to support Marquette Basketball. Hey, look, you have another chance to meet Chase this weekend. He's going to be out at Piggly Wiggly on December 14th at 10:30 a.m. This is the West Allis Piggly Wiggly. You're going to be meeting fans, signing autographs. You excited for that?
I am. Shout out Piggly Wiggly.
All right. More from Marquette Thursdays after the break. Thank you, guys. We'll be back. Athletics. CareSource is a nonprofit health plan that leads with heart. As part of an ongoing commitment to investing in the people in the communities they serve, they're proud to partner with Marquette Basketball to support Sharp. For every assist made, CareSource will contribute $10 to the Reading with the Golden Eagle program. Marquette has 155 assists so far this season.
Let's go get some more.
I agree.
Hey, everybody, how did Chase Ross do? He has come a long way. I heard he didn't tell the story.
No boat story. No boat story.
Well, the real quick story is, we were in the boat. We were, taking a boat tour. If anyone done that boat tour, it was fun. So we're in the boat, and I said, Chase, man, if you'll commit to Marquette, I'll jump in the water right now, with all my clothes on. And he was not willing to commit at the time. I don't think he wanted to disappoint his mom. I think he'd promised his mom that he'd go on a couple other visits. But when he left, I said, hey, the offer still stands. If you do commit, we're going to jump in Lake Michigan, our whole staff. And so the day he committed, it was like September 22nd, 2021. We all jumped in the lake because we knew that that was an important moment for us, for Chase Ross to join our program. So that was the story. Hey, everybody, I think Trevor and Sophia are doing a great job so far.
Thank you.
And then, hey, Layla, don't think we forgot about you. You're going to be up here soon. So you're kind of the secret weapon.
Well, thank you, Coach. And let's look forward to Purdue here on Saturday, heading back to Mackey. You guys have played this team 4 years in a row. Can you speak a little bit on the mutual respect both programs have for each other?
Yeah, 4 years in a row. They've been some real battles. We went down there, Stevie and Jop and Cam's sophomore year, and, that was a team. We had a young team. We didn't have any seniors on that team, and that was a game, Trevor, where our guys really came together and showed, hey, we can compete. We can play. And I remember we had, I think it was a 9-point lead with about 8 minutes to go, and then Purdue they just kind of turned it up, and they made some real plays. You guys remember Zach Edey. I mean, he was a challenge to deal with. So they got that game. Then the next year we played them in Maui. We were coming off of beating number 1 Kansas, and we were playing them. They were number 2. At that time, I don't think anyone ever in back-to-back days has beaten 1 and 2. So it was a chance to make history, but we fought and battled. We were right there in the game. But again, the combination of Braden Smith, their All-America point guard, Edey, and then the shooters they have, Lawyer, and some of the other guys were a little bit too much for us to handle. But it was a close game. We were right there. Then last year we were able to get him at home. Cam Jones was phenomenal.
Triple-double.
Watching that game back, it was almost like he was playing a video game. But now we play them again at their place. Very, very tough place to play. They were number 1 in the country, lost a game last weekend. They won big last night against Minnesota. So it'll be, a heck of a challenge going in there, but a really exciting opportunity for our team to take a step.
Absolutely. And what do you hope to see from the team in another high-level road challenge?
Pursuit. You gotta continue to pursue what you're going after over and over and over again. And you have to stay with it even when you are maybe a little bit behind the play or you get screened. Purdue does an unbelievable job of running their offense, multiple actions, multiple cutters. Braden Smith's about as good as there is at coming off of screens on the ball and making plays happen. They have truly a stable of big guys that they've developed. For years and years it was Edey.
Yep.
With some guys, behind him. But now, they've got quite a few guys in that stable of bigs that are going to fight and compete. So a heck of a challenge for our forwards. I think Caden Hamilton, Ben Gold, Royce Parham, Josh Clark, they're going to need to take a step forward. They're going to need to rebound at a high level. Chase obviously leading the way for us. On the defensive end and on the offensive end, excited to have Sean, in his second game back. NJ obviously continuing to push and grow. So it's an exciting opportunity, but we need to continue to pursue every single play and literally not let up until that final buzzer sounds.
Absolutely. Coach, thank you again for joining us as always on Thursdays. Make your basement game day ready with Matrix Basements. Matrix Basements is your trusted local basement finishing company. With 16 years of experience, Matrix is a name you can trust. Visit matrixbasements.com and use incentive code Marquette to receive 25% off your basement installation. Transform your space today at matrixbasements.com. We will be right back to wrap things up from Motor Bar and Restaurant here at the Harley Davidson Museum. Museum, presented by Aurora Healthcare, the healthcare choice of Marquette Athletics. Marquette fans, Buffalo Wild Wings is the official viewing party location for Marquette road games this season. Check out the Golden Eagles watch party schedule at gomarquette.com/BWW. The next party is this Saturday, December 13th at the Oak Creek Buffalo Wild Wings. Marquette takes on Purdue at 1 p.m. Let's go Sports Bar. Coach Chase, thank you for joining us today. Fans, make sure you head to Buffalo Wild Wings or wherever you will to watch the game on Saturday. I'll be down in West Lafayette, really looking forward to it. Another chance to take on and defeat a pretty good opponent in the Purdue Boilermakers. So thank you all for being here tonight. As always, it's great to see an awesome turnout on Thursdays here at Motor Bar. And we look forward to seeing you next week with Sheik and Josh. So thank you all and have a good night. Marquette fans, join us in Omaha before the Marquette men's basketball team takes on Creighton next weekend. The blue and gold pregame reception is Saturday, December 20th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at Hilton Omaha. Enjoy game day food, drinks, and Marquette pride. Visit gomarquette.com to learn more and register. Let's show Omaha that we are Marquette.